What's going on, guys? I'll be getting started here in the next 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, so you may want to grab some paper, pen, and jot down some notes. I'll be back, guys. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Come on, y'all. Man, I'm pumped up. Hopefully, you guys can see that. Can y'all see that? Let me move over a little bit more this way. All right, all right, all right. Kingdom Diplomat is here. Hopefully, you guys are doing well today. I am doing extraordinary. So excited about life. It's so awesome to know why you're here. Man, y'all see that? It's so awesome to know why you're here, where you're going, the vision that was put inside of all of us individually. And not a one of us is a mistake. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care where they're from. I don't care what happened. I don't care what religion. Not a one of us is a mistake. And I've proven that over and over and over again since last year. Evidence, because in a religion, it's very simple. It's just a system of rules, right? To keep people ignorant and get them to do what you want them to do. And that's how a lot of people are able to be deceived, right? Because we have that innate ability that's inside of us, that knowing that we know there's something greater that we're supposed to achieve and do and bring people with us, not steal, murder, and destroy and hurt people and lie, deceive. Where'd that come from? Somebody need to hear that. But knowing who you are, your identity, where you're going, your vision, why you're here, your purpose, my gosh, um, what you can do, your skills, your abilities, and everything like that, um, and where you're from, your origin, and that's what I know, and that's what's so exciting. Every single day, no matter what happens or doesn't happen, like I know, like I can't fail, I'm the only. Mm, anyway, so let me just go ahead and get into this, guys. So if you're new in here, thank you for taking your time out to tune in to Kingdom Diplomat. I don't take that lightly. Um, I'll be the first one to admit I can do a better job with some things that I'm working on, that I need to work on. I need to dig deeper. I need to do more, and I need to make that commitment, to myself, and obviously make it to you. But I don't take it lightly that you guys are tuning in and taking time out that you'll never be able to get back. But I do know this, of all the books, success principle books I've read, and the success principle book, a lot of the mentorships I've had over the, let me see, it's been, I mean, for at least 15 years, and, mentored other people, and I'm mentoring other people, um, and doing a lot of research. I put this title up here. Hopefully, you guys can see this. Is because, very simply put, a little bit harder for me to see it. There we go. Um, Man, YouTube, I tell you, golly. But anyway, so I don't want to get on my soapbox right now because I got a big, tall one, and I got multiple ones. So why did I entitle this right here on there? It's simply boils down to this. What we know in life is solely based upon our desire. Okay, and I'm not going to be long. I promise you. I think this is episode 58, and again. If you're new in here, please go ahead and subscribe, and please go ahead and like, because the AI will like me better when you guys do that. I urge you, I implore you to go back and look at a lot of the library of videos I have all the way back to February the 1st of the last year. And because I got a lot of great stuff in there. And this is not just from my mind, this is coming through my mind. Okay. If anybody ever tells you that, hey, I'm the end all be all, you better run from them because birds of a feather do flock together, and those birds are going to be barbecue chicken, right? Because anybody that tells you that is full of pride, and I can assure you, when their ship burns down and sinks, you don't want to be on that ship, or you don't want to be tied to that ship. Okay, I'll leave it at that. So, if if this is not your first time, welcome again. As always, guys, I really appreciate you again for tuning in. So, um, obviously, through the last few weeks, I've been, expounding on, this book right here, called The Magic of Thinking Big. And because I know this was, man, gosh, 1955. So I mean, you're literally talking, what, 80 years ago, something like that, or close to 70. What is that? 55, 45, 65. So you're talking about 66 years ago. Okay. Excuse me. No, that's not right either. That's 70 years ago, 71 years ago. Okay, I'll get it right. Um, but anyway, somebody said, you can't count. Well, you know, it depends on, but I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, that's okay. I got this right here, right? I got a phone and whatever, So where was I going with that? So you gotta learn to have fun, okay? You gotta learn how to laugh at yourself. You gotta learn how to laugh at stupid people. Even though I may love the person, but they say stupid and dumb, ignorant things, but that's okay. Who cares, right? The thing is that if either you're gonna get angry or you're gonna get excited, right? Whichever one you get, do something right. Okay, change, add value to yourself, and when you add value to yourself, and you have an objective in mind, an idea, a product, or services, no matter how young you are, or how much older you are. If you put together a plan, you work the plan, you be flexible, give yourself some grace, seek out successful people in that area that you want to reach out to. Don't be afraid to ask questions. One of my clients with one of my businesses, I asked her, I said, do you know any millionaires who are in real estate? And she was like, she gave me two names and numbers. I just asked. I asked. That's it. That's all I did. Ask and you shall receive. There's no reason why people should stay broke, right? And if you remember before, I said this many times, people are poor not because of money, because money, it doesn't even exist, right? It's a matter of this right here, this land, this 6 inches of land between our ears, right? And so it doesn't exist. So there's no such thing as shortages. So if you ever hear anything on the news or anybody tell you there's shortage of this, there is no such thing as shortages. This planet and what we were put on this planet has an abundance of everything, an exponential abundance, right? It's just greed. Okay. So poverty has nothing to do with not having enough money. It's how person or man, woman, or child thinks. Okay. And it also has to do with greed. Okay. Where you find poverty at, there's going to be 3 times as much greed. Okay. And put that concept to test wherever you live at, whether you're whatever country you live at. Okay. And shout out to all my bloodline out there, out here in North America, out there in Europe. I got a lot of bloodline over there. Alkebulan, which some people call Africa, South America, down there in the islands, and Cuba and Bahamas. I got a lot of bloodline through there, and then also in Asia, which is cool. So yeah, I'm a mutt. So oh well. Hey, I ain't had no control over that. But anyway, okay. So let's get into this. What we know in life is solely based upon desire. Okay. So there's a lot of people that had a lot of ideas. I've had a lot of ideas, but if you don't write them down, if you don't, tangibly write them down, there's something about taking a pen or pencil on a piece of paper and writing something down. Even researchers say it's like tying it to your brain, right? It's like tying your shoe real tight, okay? And you remember it more, okay? So when there's so many ideas that come across people's mind, but most people don't do anything about it, right? You know, um, so I'll give you. It's not a testimony or anything. I've said this many times before, but this wasn't an idea. But with one of my businesses, I actually help businesses retrieve or recover money that's been stolen from them. Essentially, that's basically I help them recover money, tax credits, whatever it is. And I have some partners, and I have some a legal outfit on the back end and everything, and the idea came from a buddy of mine, and he was like, you know what? We're a consulting business, and I'm working with you guys, contracted with you guys. Why don't we do this? We can work together. And so I agreed, and obviously I didn't do the. That's one regret I do have, right? Is not doing it earlier because I was working on something else that was very important to me that I desired to do when I was 15, 16 years young. So anyway, so I ended up doing the project probably for maybe about 37 days, 38 days, somewhere around that area. And let's just say I mowed a significant amount of money in that few short of time. I didn't say that right, did I? In that short amount of time. I've had a long day. Anyway, so, but I attribute that to one of these books like this. Okay. Because success principles are eternal. They're forever, right? And they have no respect of a persons. I've said that many times. I hear so much excuses. I used to make them when I was younger. This person don't like me because of this. This person or that man or that woman. I didn't do this because of this. The past or whatever. And some of it was legit. We all have the same programming that our parents and grandparents and great grandparents have, and it is true. Researchers have found out that a lot of their trauma has been um, programmed, in our DNA to some degree, right? So we do carry some of that, okay, depending upon, the bloodline, all that stuff like that. But ultimately, when you have a desire, okay, now you don't start off with a desire, okay, you don't start off with one. And before I get into that, let me go ahead and let's look at this. I'm gonna pull that up. Let's look at that word desire etymology, right? Something that we were not taught in public and private schools is etymology, right? What words mean, what symbols mean, because they mean everything. Okay. Um, okay. Let's look at the word desire. Desire, the feeling of wanting to have something. I don't like that one. Wishing that something will happen. I don't like that either. An instant of feeling. Here we go. I like this one. Passion. Okay, that's what desire is. So it's a difference between wanting to do something and desiring to do something, especially if it's a righteous thing to do, right? So wants, I want to lose weight. I want to get fit. I want to eat better. I want to do this. Well, it's just like, right? As soon as I like to call it fleshing out, as soon as the flesh was like, nah, I don't want to work out today, and you capitulate, right? Give in. Hey, I've been there, done that too many times, right? More than I like to count. Okay. But that's just, maybe 50-50. Well, it's raining outside. I don't want to do this. I don't want to take a walk or whatever objective you set, right? But a desire is I don't care what the weather is. I don't care what's going on. I set the objective. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. I hold myself accountable, right? And then, which is just as good as if you have a partner and they can hold you accountable too, right? One of the favorite commercials I like, it's not really the commercial content, but I like the bond is with Anthony Edwards and I forgot his friend's name. They grew up together and man, he's his biggest cheerleader, right? And I'm pretty sure, behind the scenes, he's probably his biggest critic also too. Now who's Anthony Edwards? He's a NBA up and coming NBA star in the National Basketball Association, and Adidas has commercials with him, and I just love it. Okay, um, I love that, and that friendship, that bond, and holding somebody accountable. Hang on, guys. What is this? Um, this on software. Hang on. Technical difficulties. Man, he's doing pop up stuff. Anyway, golly. So, but yeah, I like that. So he holds him accountable. Sometimes it's easier to have a partner with you, or maybe a group of people, and everybody holds everybody accountable. So when one falls down, you have the other ones to pick you up. Some people don't need that; they can just like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. I don't care. They didn't believe in me. They said I couldn't do it, and I proved them wrong, and I don't care what's going on. Okay, so I would say most of that is me. Right now, I do have some days where I need to relax. And some days I just don't feel like doing anything. Right, but overall, and that comes in spurts. Okay, so um, for instance, what I just told you, what doing that national campaign, I was helping these businesses and working with these guys. That was just a spurt, See, obviously life is a journey, right? It's not a sprint. Okay. And so what I'm doing is I was taking short sprints, right? There's different phases in life. Now, here we go again. I'm talking about the laws. Okay. I know y'all listening to me. The law of seed time, harvest time, sowing and reaping, right? It's been around for a long time. Okay. Whether a person's here in the body or not, they're still going to be here. These laws are eternal. Okay. And with that being said, you know, because life is a journey, what I realized with all the information that I've gathered, all the mentorship, all the things, all the success points in my life, it was based upon certain seasons. There's a certain season to sow. There's a certain season to what's the word for it? Kind of remain dormant, right? Just expectation is higher, right? That time between seed time, harvest, right? And then you got the harvest time, and you got to put the action into it, right? So you got action to sow, then you got the seed time where you're not so much being actionable, but you're more working on this, right? The land between the six ears. The six ears. Wow, that's a new one. Um, I may start like a clothing line called Six Ears. But anyway, the 6 inches between your ears, right, and your brain. Why is it 6 inches, right? I never even measured that one out. But anyway, who knows? It may not even be six, right? It may be something that I was programmed to say. You know what I'm saying? Like we all say, we say a lot of regurgitate a lot of things from the news, and come to find when we were younger, we come to find out that later on in life, we were lied to, we were deceived, right? So maybe you should have the approach that I have. Everything is a lie, okay? But I have a reference point, right? I have a foundational reference point, a moral reference point that I can go to. I can go to this Constitution that's that was here way before any of us were here, and I can always go to those principles, those laws, and I can bounce that against that, and that's how I am directed in life. Okay. And but yeah, I haven't even hit the starting line, folks, and I would say I don't believe you've even started yet either. I don't care if you're 80 years young. I don't care if you're 16 or 20 or 22 or whatever it is, or everybody in between. Okay. So now, so I said, so the definition of desire is passion. Okay. So how do you develop that passion? Well, I just told you before, number one, you got to have it starts off with a want, right? But here's how it transitions. Usually, what I found out and what's happened to me is that you either get angry or you get excited, right? Something happened that and it forces you to get out of your comfort zone, right? Maybe some of you, um, you're tired of catching a ride from somebody else, right? And maybe they may be your buddy or maybe a friend, family member, and but you got to wait for them, right? You got to give some gas, understandably so. That's the right thing to do, right? Um, but it's on their time, right? Not so much on your time, right? And so maybe you're like, you know what? I'm just fed up. Okay, I'm gonna write down the plan. This is how much money I need to make. What can I do to make that money the right way, right? And how much do I need to have extra? Whatever the payment is, or maybe I want to pay it off, or whatever, however your objective is, write it down. Okay, write your vision upon the piece of paper or the tablet, whatever. Okay, sound like Moses writing it on the Ten Commandments. But anyway, um, so do that, and then put it and within that objective, you should give yourself a date. And by this date, I'm gonna make this amount of money. I gotta put these hours in. I gotta take care of my body. I gotta get my sleep. I gotta divert from some of these crowds, the people that I've been hanging around with. That's going in the wrong direction. I gotta stop watching that. Stop watching that. Or I gotta add this on. Whatever you need to do, ask yourself questions. This is what I've done, and this is how you autocorrect or self-correct, right? Because who's going to be ultimately okay? We all need a mentor, okay? But even that mentor can't help you succeed, right? They can only kind of guide you, maybe give you some guardrails and stuff like that to save you time, save you some money. But ultimately, you got to do it, okay? You got to have the desire to do it. You got to have the passion. So that's going to be developed incrementally. Are you listening to me? It's going to be developed incrementally. So write it down, okay? And then so you got to set your objective. You got your plan, okay? How am I going to get there? How much I need to make, okay? Maybe it's I don't want my kid to be in a daycare, right? And there's all kind of germs running around there, and there's pedophiles running around there, and there's you just never know. You see what I'm saying? In light of all the stuff that's come out over the last several years, okay? And maybe you're a couple and you're saying, hey, we we're angry, and this is what we need to do to get our child out there, for the wife to stay at home or the mother to stay at home, or whatever, however you guys see fit. I'm just trying to give you an example. You know what I'm saying? Maybe there's a certain procedure that your child needs, or you need to have money for that. Whatever that objective is, it doesn't have to be anything like that. As far as some people may say negative, but maybe it could be something positive. Maybe you want to bless your family and do this for them. So write down the objective in detail, right? Write your vision. This is what I have my vision book over there. I showed it to you guys before. Got it down in detail, right? And then you can surround yourself with these things, right? You can put the wallpaper up on your cell phone. You can put it up on your laptop. Places, something that you want to do, okay? And you have to write things down. Not only that, but you also have to assess the situation, okay? As I said before, your future is not ahead of you; it's trapped on the inside of you in terms of a seed. Okay, so a seed is like a converting mechanism, right? It's a diagram, it's a program. That seed is programmed. Are you listening to me? Okay, and so in order for your seed and for your gifts and talents and abilities to come out, guess what you got to do? You got to put it in the right environment. That's why a lot of you haven't accomplished certain things that you desire to accomplish, or that's why it's taking so long. When I finished that project or the project, the time that I did have was like 30 something days, 35, 36, 37 days, and I was like, man, gosh, I did that in 37 days, and I was like, why did it take me so long? And what it was simply put, it wasn't I didn't have a desire, which is something else I'm gonna get into after that. I'm gonna talk about experimenting, and I'm also gonna talk about working your plan and planning your work, okay, and being flexible. Okay, sometime within that plan, maybe you need to bounce it off somebody. Okay. Maybe you need to pull somebody else in that you respect and say, hey, what do you think? These are my goals and everything. Somebody that you can trust, somebody that won't laugh at you. And I promise you, successful people, no matter what the endeavor is, they won't laugh at you. Okay. But to be able to make that type of money and in that short amount of time, I was like, whoa, why did it take me so freaking long to do that? And it was because the prison is in the mind, right? It's because the prison that had me bound, right? Now, I'm not completely free because you got to remember, we've all been programmed, especially if you're in the Western world. We've been programmed by the Greeks. Now, listen, I love Greeks, right? I love Greek people, right? But I'm talking about Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates. If you look up their leadership, okay, look up their leadership philosophy, thinking, okay? And if you didn't look like them, then guess what? You were their slave. So it was about money. Okay. It wasn't about color. It was about money. I don't want to do the, I don't want to hold those fields. I don't want to plant those fields. I don't want to harvest those fields. I don't want to build those temples. So what I need to do is I need to get a group of my buddies. We need to come up with some philosophy. They were thinkers, okay? And we need to find some people that don't look like us, and we can, in our mind, make them subhuman, so to speak, or sub royalty, and they can be second and third and fourth class citizens, and then we can enslave them, and they do the work. Okay, so that's why I tell people racism has nothing to do with color; it has everything to do with money. Why? To give you power. Okay, because everybody desires power, whether they like it or not. They want power over circumstance. They want power over the crime in their neighborhood. They want power to send their kids to whatever school they want to. They want power to be able to go here. They want power to be able to buy this. They want power to be able to wear this. They want power. They want. What do you think status is for? Status is simply the avenue to get power, right? It Mercedes, okay, not a Honda. You know what I'm saying? Maybach, not a Mercedes. You see what I'm saying? Because it's the feeling that people get because they feel they desire power. Here we go, that word again, desire power. You see what I'm saying? You know, um, so I've already gotten all past that because I've learned that if I add value to myself and I work on me, right? Guess what's going to happen? I'm going to increase my value and make my value invaluable. Follow me now. Don't just understand this, overstand that. You say, I don't know what overstand. Just look it up. Okay. That's like a metaphysical level. Okay. It's a deeper level. Okay. What I'm doing is I'm laying out the foundation of these laws and principles that I learned. Okay. Um, and so with that being said, where we are right now has a lot. I would probably say 90 to 95% has a lot to do with lack of desire. Okay, because we've been conditioned, we getting programmed. I've said this last week, and I said it the week before, and I'll keep saying it. I'll keep hammering into your mind and my mind. We've been conditioned to hate ourselves. We've been conditioned to cancel ourselves. We've been conditioned for all kind of things that are opposite of what we were what we were created to be. Okay. If a nail is designed to go into whatever to fix something in place, then it can't be a hammer. A hammer can't be a nail, nail can't be a hammer, right? A gas nozzle can't be a gas tank, right? And vice versa. You get what I'm saying, okay? A laptop can't be a heater can't be a laptop. It's based upon the manufacturer with the product, and whether the product has whatever laws have been programmed. Follow me now into the product. Guess what happens? Okay, the product is going to do exactly what the manufacturer programmed the product to do, and the product can't fail. Okay. So some of y'all get that later on, but just keep chewing on it. So here's what I learned. So the key word in there, where's my ruler? Maybe next week I'll stand up and do this. Okay. So here's what I learned right here. There's some key words in here. Okay. What? Okay, that right there has to do with something. Okay, what we need or what we know in life is solely based upon. So the what I'm trying to get you guys to understand is the knowledge. Okay, knowledge means to what? It means information. It means like, so what information do we need to know in what area of life, and you have to write that down, okay, on a piece of paper, okay, and you can put a date on it, you may not, but you got to have grace with yourself. That's what I've learned, okay, because remember what I'm showing you how to do is unprogram your mind, okay, with the programming we've been programmed with, right, okay, because we know it's not right, because the fruit that we have right now in our life, okay, I'm sure most of us, 99% of us or 98% of us, are probably not satisfied. I'm not satisfied in any area of my life. I want to grow. I want to be. I want to know more and add more value to myself and learn more principles, right? Those laws, so I can increase my value, so my value can become invaluable to myself and the people around me, so I can increase my what? Influence, right? Which is leadership. Every person is a leader, but they're just trapped in the follower. Okay. There's that seed principle again, right? We were told we weren't leaders. We were told we weren't enough. We were told, and I'm just not talking about people that are my color. There's all different types of people with all different types of colors and every different religion and all that stuff. If you look at that, it's all about categorizing people, and that's why I talk about religion. That's the number one problem that we have in mankind's history is religion. Okay, and secondly, which is a very close second, actually would be 1B. 1A religion, 1B would be governments, right? Wrong governments, because the wrong type of government model, which we got from the Greeks and the Romans, right? A democratic republic. Okay. Some people say we're democratic democracy. Some people say we're republic. Either or, it doesn't matter. It's the same coin, but different sides. Okay. They have different elements, they're different characteristics, but they all have the same concept. Okay. Now I'm not making light of that. I'm so thankful that I was born over here in America, but even within there, when you start doing research, we got two different governments, right? Two different constitutions, if I may, right? One's a constitution, one's in the United States Code. Okay, there's three different citizenships in there. Okay, I don't have time to get into that, but anyway, maybe at some point I will. So, what do we need to know? So that's for you to find out, not for me to find out. That's for you to find out because I've already found that out. Okay, now here's another thing right here. I'm basically showing you. I'm laying out the law of the law of desire. There's different laws that I'm laying out, but it's how to develop the law of desire right here to achieve what you need to achieve to go to the next level in life. Okay, why? Because I have right now. I'm still looking to go on to the next level, right? Because I want to increase my influence. All right. So anyway, let me go ahead and wrap this up, guys. So I've already told you kind of like the steps of what you need to do I would go back over this at least 2 or 3 times, take a bunch of notes, listen to it over and over again. Next time I come on, if you have any questions, feel free. Please go ahead and ask me some questions. If I don't know, I'll look it up. Maybe I can find it in the book. Maybe I forgot about it because I've learned it years ago. But overall, the principles, the laws that I have, most of them are actually in here, right? Okay, because when you need to apply a certain principle in a certain situation, you don't have time to run to a book. It needs to be innately already programmed into you. Are you listening to me? For instance, here's a tip. So when this financial collapse comes, and it's coming soon, and I'll tell you real quick, it's very simple. Okay, I'm not going to get into the details of it, but it's very simple. If you control buildings, if you have real estate with commercial buildings, right? And pre pandemic, you had it was occupied maybe at 90, 95, 100% of other companies that you were charging rent to, right? And so post pandemic, and it goes down, your occupancy goes down to 40 or 50%. Well, guess what? The person is eventually going to default because people aren't going back to work, right? Or people aren't, the companies are out, they're letting their employees stay home. So guess what? They're not going to be able to pay the real estate company or the people or the group or the person who owns the building or co-owns the building. Guess what? Not going to be able to pay rent. So they're going to default on the loans. Okay. So those loans are coming due, people. All righty. Those loans are coming due. And don't get me started with banks. Why the heck we need bank? You're your own bank. Okay. There's a reason why there was a trust taken out on us. Okay. Some people don't know what that means, but yeah, there's a public trust. There was a global trust. Okay. And then there was another trust, taken out on. He's like, well, where's our money at? Yeah, exactly. That's a whole nother topic in itself. So the law of desire, you have to learn how to develop that. So last but not least, cap your negative, right? You assess what you believe your negative is. Okay. If you're happy where you are in life and you're just excited about it and your family is excited about it, or it's just you by yourself and you're pumped up and you don't care, then don't do it. Okay. But however, if you can't stand it, you're upset about something, don't be upset with people, be upset with yourself in a way that, hey, I should be further along. But also at the same time, you're supposed to love yourself. That's how you grow in love also too, is you got to learn you. Okay. Now I would say this, the real you is not you. Maybe I should do a talk on that, what I learned in that area. The real you is not you. Whatever age you are, I'm telling you, the real you is not you. The real me is progressing. I'm in the process. Okay. This is a small piece of what I'm telling you, what I've shared. Okay. Because I said, man, if I can make that type of money of what most households in America take a whole year, 2 years to make, if I can make that in 30 something days, why can't I do that in a second? You see what I'm saying? The prison is in the mind. Now, at some point in time, I'm gonna get into who built the prison, and I gave you some hints earlier, right? Okay, because governments create and religions create culture and how people think, right? Many people who were born in a certain religion, when they start getting about 10, 11, 12 years old, guess what? They start asking other questions that they didn't ask at 5 and 6 years old, right? Because their brain is expanding, their computations are expanding, there's more gray matter expanding in their thinking. People are asking them questions and they're starting to thinking outside the box, right? Same thing with the type of government that we're in, right? And some people would say, you know what, man, this is the best government in the world. Well, you know what? You need to look at the statistics, right? Look at the abuse. Look at all the things across the violence and the gangs and the corruption at every level of government and all the things that are going on, not just here in America, but in North America and other places around the world. You can't have an orange tree produce apples. Okay, it's very simple. It's all law based. It's about principles. Okay, principle means first law. Okay, so you can't, again, you can't have a strawberry tree grow grapes, right? It's not in its nature. It's not what it's designed to do as a product. The manufacturer didn't produce or create that strawberry bush to create grapes. What are you saying, Tyreek? Is that the fruit that's in that actual, the fruit that's already inside of you, that's what you're supposed to bear. Okay. So what do you got to do? As I said before, you got to chop down those negative connotations, those negative ideologies about yourself. Okay. And the things that society have sold into you, people have sold into you because it's been sold into them also too. You got to get rid of that Greek Roman thinking. And don't get me wrong, if you're Greek and you're Roman, I love you guys, but I'm talking factual. This is factual. Okay. You know, they said, hey, if you didn't have blue hair, blue eyes, blonde hair, sharp nose, fair skin, thin lips, then you're my slave. That's essentially what they were saying. You know, the gods have given us slaves, you know. So we're miseducated. Okay. So if you don't want that Rockefeller education, and you look at some of the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and some of the sayings that they said, they were talking about you. They were talking about your kids. They were talking about your grandparents. They were talking about your great grandparents and your aunts and uncles and your next door neighbors and your cousins and your boy and your girl. They were talking about you, and they were saying, "Hey, we up here, you down here, you are doormat, right?" Well, that doesn't make any sense right there, because we all came through one man, but that's a whole nother topic in itself, right? That's like a orange tree, and you got an orange that's way up there, 10, 20 feet up there. I don't know how tall they grow. I don't know, maybe 10, 15 feet. Let's say an orange tree is maybe 10 feet tall or 20 feet tall. Okay. Let's say 20 feet. I mean, they may or not, who cares? And there's like that orange up there telling that trunk, that root of that tree, I don't like you. I hate you. You ain't nothing to me. And you're like, what? We're all connected, right? That doesn't even make any sense, you know? There's different branches, different bloodlines, and everything. They all came down from one man. But anyway, through one man, should I say? But that's a whole other topic in itself. So if you unplug from that crap out there, I promise you, the value will your self image will increase. Okay, so I'm done, guys. I think it was on here a little bit too long, but you can tell, man, I'm very passionate about this, man. I want to create a tsunami of people who know those five questions: identity, who, where they're from, origin, why they're here, no, why, yeah, purpose, what they can do, their abilities, their talents, right, and where they're going, their vision. Those five questions. And in the process of developing those five questions, and please don't wait. Don't wait for something dramatic to happen, traumatic to happen to get you to move. Unfortunately, we've been conditioned so much to just to be comfortable. You know, if you're comfortable, I'm telling you, you're going backwards. But you're going backwards so slow, it's like a snail. You know, you can, the only way you can see a snail moving is you really got to pay close attention. You got to get close to it. But if you're too far away from that snail, you know, you can't see it moving. You know what I'm saying? So those laws or principles that I just laid out, okay, the law of desire, the law of knowledge, okay, the law of change, okay, those five questions and stuff like that. All permanent change happens from the inside out. You know, that happens minutely, okay, but you have to make a decision, okay, because nobody else is going to do it for you. Because I promise you, we all have regrets, but since somebody like myself and other people have warned you already ahead of time of things that are coming, you want to know, you have to develop a desire, because if not, then you're going to end up sinking, okay, and you have nobody to blame but yourselves, okay. And there's people, I'm sure there's people counting on you. So I don't care if you're by yourself. I don't care if it's just you and your spouse. Or I don't care if you, your cut, whatever your situation is. There are people counting on you. I don't care if it's just one person. Maybe it's somebody that you don't know that's counting on you to do these things. Okay, but you have to learn. It's all about principles. It's all about laws. This is what we weren't taught in public and private schools on purpose. Okay, on purpose. If something is wrong in your life, like there's things in my life that need to be tweaked, I have to trace it back. Okay, remember that example I gave you about that orange at the top of the tree? I have to go all the way back down and find it where I messed up at and say, okay, which principle did I break? Was there something in the principle of relationships? Was it one of the principles over here, money? Was it one of the principles over here? If you do that and you seek, I promise you, you'll find. Okay, that's another law that I keep telling people about. It's something about when you start desiring, I want to know about this. I may not have a desire, but I want to know. I'm reading, I'm searching, and sooner or later, somebody's going to say something, somebody's going to do something that's like, this may be it. And you start going down here. Now, how do you know if it's righteous? How do you know if it's unrighteous? Well, you have to keep looking, right? You have to desire to know. Okay. And that's one of the things I learned, that the creator will do that for you. He will show you if you truly want to know. But here's another law I learned. If you don't want to know, he'll hide it from you. And I don't have time to get into all of that. But it works. Okay. So I'm out of here. You guys have a great night. I'll probably hop on here maybe sometime during the week as I'm inspired to. But remember, your future's not ahead of you guys. It's literally trapped on the inside of you. You're looking, you're searching through the bushes, you're going to this program, you're going to that program, you're joining that religion, you jump from there, this religion, this government, that government, you're flying over here, you're looking for your future. And it's a place that you didn't even know it was. And I'm not laughing at you, because I did most of my life like that. But when I learned from somebody else who was going through some of the same things I was going through, and they desired, where is my future? It's trapped on the inside of you. And I'm telling you, once you learn that, and once you get on the plan, and once you develop a desire, right? I'm telling you, or excitement, nobody can stop you. Nothing can stop you, and nobody can stop you. And the manufacturer will back his product with a guarantee and warranty. Okay, guarantee and warranty. And I don't even like that word warranty. I don't like that word warranty, because tell me something. When you buy a product, you have certain expectations, right? And they give you a manual, which is the manufacturer's mind, and they tell you this product is going to act like this, and this, and we guaranteed if you do what you're supposed to do and it doesn't work, then let us know. We'll fix it. If it needs to be fixed, and we can fix it, we'll send it back to you free of charge. We'll pay for it. If it can't, we'll give you a new one. You see what I'm saying? But that word warranty, when you break it down, means war, WAR. So you mean to tell me I'm buying your product, I'm trusting you, I'm giving you something in return, which is a federal note, which is an IOU, or I'm giving you a zeros and ones, a digit, which is just an entry form that somebody else enters into a computer. I told you money didn't exist. And for that product or service, and you're telling me, since it's not going right, and I'm telling you, and you're giving me all this hassle. Some of you know what I'm talking about anyway. So I said I wasn't going to get on my soapbox, but I did a little bit towards the end, because I had some stupid products from a couple of stupid companies, GE, and who's no longer here in America, but it's here in America, but not owned by Americans, patriots, true. Well, anyway, that's a whole nother topic in itself. But anyway, it sucks. So, and then we had another product. What product was that? Definitely wouldn't get 210 for home warranty. No, same thing. But look that word up in Black's Law book, and you'll see warranty. It works against you. So, but anyway, that's enough. You guys have a great night. I'll talk to you guys next week, most likely. Well, next week at this time, 7 p.m. Tuesday. Again, if you're new, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Also, go to my Instagram too. Follow me at Kingdom Citizen 14. Go through some of my library. If you didn't like this one, go. I got a whole bunch of stuff in here. Okay. Maybe you're not feeling this one. Just shove it in the back of your mind and, look up some other topics. Okay. I promise you, I got enough in here that I got from people. I got from millionaires, multimillionaires. I got from so many successful people in here that I'm passing along to you. So I'm pumped up about later on this year. Um, Also, too, I need to tell you guys about this before I forget. I'm about to start working on the book, so I'm pumped up about that. It's going to be one of a kind, and you guys are going to be jacked about it. It's going to give you an overall picture. You're going to see it, and I'm telling you, you won't be. I guarantee you, when that book comes out and you start reading it, man, get something for yourself, get something for your spouse, your kids, and everything like that. It's going to lay the railroad tracks on the success principles, what to do, how to do it, what to see. Everything is going to be so simple, so straightforward. Um, and I'm kind of brainstorming now, but I already have an overall picture. I have a vision of how I want to do it. And I'm just so excited about that. One of many, let alone some other projects I got that'll be coming out in the next few short years. All right. You guys have a great week. And don't forget, put your seed in the right environment. Peace.